time to sit back and check out the RCWR show with Lee Sanders. Get fun, in-depth coverage and analysis from the latest in professional wrestling in AEW, WWE, NWA, Impact Wrestling, or the world of entertainment. From hit TV shows to your favorite sports like the NBA or NFL. All things music, movies, and beyond, while trying to make sense of this crazy world we live in. All while keeping it honest, insightful, and interactive since 2011. And now your host, live from the nation's capital of Washington, D.C., Lee Sanders.
Hey, what's going on, kind people? Lee Sanders here. You're checking out a new RCWR show for Monday night of July 1st, 2024. I cannot believe that here we are, July, the 7th month of 2024, and we've only got 5 months left, less than 5 months left for the calendar year. I tell you what, 2024 really been going by pretty damn quick. I mean, in the blink of an eye, next thing y'all know, it is pretty much going to be November, decision 2024 and all that other jazz. My God. Hope you guys are off to a really good start with your week so far. I tell you what, here in the DC metropolitan area, I don't think folks can complain, especially in regards to this nice weather that we have today. It got as high as, I believe, 76 degrees, windy. I'm talking about that nice, cool, crisp breeze, the kind of breeze that you can just, if you don't have a top for your car, man, you got the next best thing. You can roll them windows down, have them great tunes playing in the background, and man, you are all set. Nice, fine-ass weather that we had going on here today. And I think tomorrow and the rest of the week doesn't really look too good. I know we had a little bit of a cold front, but Tuesday on, it's looking as though it's going to go back to being a little bit hot and muggy again. It is what it is. Hey, what did you guys think about tonight's WWE RAW sound off? You can post a comment. You can definitely sound off by casting your vote on our poll. You got two options. You've got X, Twitter. I still can't get quite used to saying X. I like Twitter. Something just sounds so wrong when I say X. But Twitter at the RCWR show, or you can hit your man up on youtube.com/the RCWR show. Click on the communities tab and vote that way. We've got Money in the Bank going down this weekend as Raw tonight was doing their best to fill up those last couple of spots for the women and men's respective Money in the Bank matches. So we now have a clearer card as far as how Money in the Bank is going to be looking this weekend. I'm actually looking forward to that premium live event. So we'll definitely talk about that card. And be prepared, I'm not going to go over Money in the Bank predictions. Before anybody asks me who do I have winning Money in the Bank, we're not going to be going over predictions for this show because that would just honestly make it too long-winded. What's going to happen, I will release just as a side piece, a standalone, I will release a Money in the Bank Pick'ems edition of the RCWR show. So I've been playing around more with video editing, and I've been playing around with green screen, background effects, and all that. So I'm really dipping my toes into it. Y'all may have gotten, depends if you are subscribed to the YouTube channel. And if you are not subscribed by now, I don't know what's going on with you. You really need to subscribe. Make sure you hit on the notifications because I uploaded to the channel a album review. I have not done an album review in a long time. There's been a few albums that's come my way that I have listened to. I just never got around to actually sitting down to review them. And this go round, I finally say, okay, you know what? I definitely want to talk about this album. I got to get back into the groove of doing album reviews again. I did a video album review for Daryl Hall of Hall and Oates fame. He has a new studio album that's out titled D. And I made my point. I was in and out. We're talking about maybe 6 minutes, 7 minutes max of a video review. So definitely check that out when you get done with this episode. Show it some love and everything. But yeah, I was playing around with the video editing, post-production and all that. So I'm trying to get into that type of stuff a little bit more. But I had a blast reviewing the album. Here's the album cover, by the way. So simplistic. Look at that. Just D. Just D. That's it. Daryl Hall, D. Right? It's so cool, man. I love it. I love vinyl, man. I'm telling you, as I've gotten older, I've appreciated vinyl again. It's so weird because when I was growing up, my parents, my grandparents, they were into the vinyl. And so, of course, particularly my dad, he made the transition to cassette tapes because he did grow up on what's it called? A-Trax tapes or whatever. You know, he does know how to operate those, but when he was really coming up, it was all about vinyl and cassettes. So as I was coming up, I had that appreciation for vinyl and cassettes, but when the CDs came along, sign me up. I definitely was there. And it's interesting because I would say within the past 5 to 7 years, I've been getting back more into vinyl. And if you just ask me what it is about vinyl particularly I love, it just feels like you're getting better, richer sound quality as opposed to what you would get on a CD for starters. And then there's nothing more badass than being able to actually open up that vinyl record, looking inside the album sleeve, looking at the linear notes and all that, trying to see who did what. That used to be when I was growing up, even when I was getting my music on cassettes and then eventually transitioning into CDs. That was always my favorite part of buying an album, would be to kick back and look at the linear notes, especially if they had lyrics to the songs. I used to love going in there, scrutinizing the lyrics, trying to figure out what it was the artist was trying to relate to the listener. Oh, wow, such a cool album cover. Who did the photography? Who did? So useless trivia stuff that my brain is just full of from over the years looking at the linear notes and all that. So some good stuff. I enjoyed this edition of Monday Night Raw. I really did. We're going to talk about it. You picked a good night to tune in because besides Monday Night Raw, we're also going to be talking latest in some wrestling headlines, including former WWE talent Dijak, who, my God, he was just released by WWE because his last day was officially on the 28th, and then pretty much you just jump into the next day where he appears at an indie event. I'll give you the skinny on that. We've got some NBA news for you guys as well. If you don't know what's been going on in regards to the NBA free agency market, we're definitely going to give you the 411 on that. So we're going all over the place tonight. I'll definitely give you my thoughts on the final edition of WCW. What's that docuseries? Who Killed WCW? I'll give you my final thoughts on that episode. We're even going to revisit some polling results from AEW's Forbidden Door. Shout out to you guys that had tuned in, checked out the Forbidden Door event. You all can't see it publicly, but on the back end, I am watching the numbers slowly but surely. It's on the rise, and it looks like YouTube's just trying to validate and everything. But I'm seeing the numbers are growing rather consistently. I tried to get the post show out there, by the way, but the video, because I didn't have the audio recording in the background, so I had to rely on the video. The video, I must have stayed up until about maybe 4 in the morning today just to see if the video was going to get done rendering and the video never got done rendering so I could transfer it over to audio, sadly. So I'll actually put out the audio version post-show for that right after we get done with this one. I'll definitely be able to whip that up, put it out there ASAP for you guys, for those of you that want a little something to check out while you're beginning your 4th of July commute if you haven't begun it already. So let's talk some WWE Raw here, man. So overall, nice addition. They laid down, honestly, the same blueprint that they've been doing for these past couple of weeks in regards to building up this Money in the Bank event. And we had ourselves some more qualifying matchups to really fill out what's going to be going on the men and the women's side of Money in the Bank this weekend. Loved it overall. We even had a little bit of drama going on there with Chad Gable. What better way to open up the show than with Chad Gable and Jey Uso. Jey Uso getting a lot of love there from that crowd tonight. I did not catch where they were tonight. Boston. They were in Boston. I didn't catch the name of the arena, though. That's the thing. I didn't catch the name of the arena. But Jey Uso, Chad Gable, having a few exchange of words. Remember, these two men, they are participants for the men's Money in the Bank. So made a lot of sense for them to eventually clash, although it's kind of one of those deals where, I find it interesting. I like how WWE was in a unique position right here where they ultimately could have somehow figured out how to have all the participants clash on this edition of Raw as far as the men's side for the Money in the Bank. But they did not do that. And much respect to the women's side as well. Now, look, it's still early. They could go in that direction with Friday SmackDown. We'll have to wait and see. But I just appreciate the fact that in this case, no, you know what? Let's highlight two of the crowd favorites here in Jey Uso and Chad Gable. I thought it was a really nice touch that they did. I liked how Chad Gable, who was it that brought up the Wyatt 6? I believe it was Chad Gable who essentially said to Jey Uso, hey, man, you see how the Wyatt 6, they're popping up. They definitely got some beef with you because you've pretty much hijacked, their Fireflies there and all of that. So you kind of like, wait a minute, really? Because if anything, they've yet to attack Jey Uso. So are we really sure they got beef with Jey Uso here? I doubt that, dog. And sure enough, lights go out. By the way, Jey Uso, I know we've got some people, even our own respected fans of the show here, they leave me comments and all that. I know some of them, they don't mind if Jey Uso struggles on the microphone and everything, but Jey Uso, I will continue to say it. Jey Uso, yes, does he have the crowd? He does. But my God, man, when he starts to open his mouth, the longer that he talks, the more out of tune and out of touch you are with that, because you're ready for the show to just move along already. And the best way I can describe it, just think of your most favorite song that is a really great head bobbing type of song. It makes you feel so energetic. Every time you hear it, you got to throw your hand in the air and all that, right? You bob into that joint, the lyrics. I mean, you just going at it, all right? I know for me personally, you play me a Tribe Called Quest award tour, I'm doing that joint verse for verse, right? I'm just bobbing and everything to that joint. Now, just picture that same energetic flow that you have when you're listening to that song, and just imagine once that song is over, the whole mood, the tone, just everything, it shifts to a 180. And it's not a 180 to where this is something from your playlist. This is something that you like, right? This is your music now, right? You like this. No. It just goes in a 180 that you don't care for that song. You don't care for that artist. You're like, what the hell, right? The vibe is just all messed up, yo, okay? That is how a Jey Uso entrance promo goes. You got the energy, you got the head bobbing, you got the hands in the air, right? And you feel like you're part of this movement. You feel like you're at this club and everybody is just getting it on and everything. And then somebody decides to be a dick and slide in a track that they know damn well does not really fit what currently is going on. That's that Jey Uso promo. Okay. That's that Jey Uso promo. I will give WWE credit, though. I'll give credit where credit is due. They did have my man talking as long as Chad Gable went in there, got in a couple of cheap attacks on our man Jey Uso before the lights went out. And then we see Wyatt 6 once again, this strange infatuation that they have with Chad Gable. They didn't attack him, but Chad Gable was spooked so much so he ran his ass backstage. We see him once again trying to pull a Notorious B.I.G. one more chance with Otis, Maxine, and Akira Tozawa there. They still are not budging. Now, I was moving around and about in the house, playing around with some lighting equipment. Did they show Chad Gable approached by the the Creed brothers and Ivy now? I know they did that great tease last week. I'm just curious if they have followed up and did something along those lines again. For those of you that didn't have any distractions and you were watching the whole 3 hours, sound off and let me know. But, if they didn't, it's like, how you going to tease us last week and, you don't go in that direction again. But Chad Gable right here trying to do his best to have the number games work in his favor. He knows he needs numbers on his side if he's to have a chance against the Wyatt 6. It really brings the question about what's up with our man Gable when it comes to Money in the Bank. Is he truly going to have a fair shot, or is Wyatt 6 going to be making their presence felt, and somehow there's going to be some shenanigans? That's the nicest way that we can put that. And again, as far as Money in the Bank preview and predictions, if there's going to be any type of shenanigans, somebody going to show up and put a monkey wrench into things and all that, we're not going to talk about that here on tonight's show. We are going to make that be a separate piece all by itself so it can have all the respected time that it needs and all that. Because otherwise, if we put it on here, it's just going to be too long-winded of a show, and we don't need it to go down like that. Appreciate you guys that want that, but we don't need the show to be any longer than the usual length that we typically go and everything. So something to think about, though, in regards to Chad Gable and all that. Speaking of the Wyatt 6, I know we're kind of bouncing around, but it's just one of those times you just go with the flow, honestly. What a fantastic segment that we got there for Bo Dallas and the continuation of the therapy one-on-one interview with himself, essentially. Another Bo Dallas, Uncle Howdy session. Loved it. I mean, freaking cinema, emotional context, storytelling at its finest. Now, look, I'm going to admit to you guys, some of the stuff that they gave us this week, it went over my head a little bit. I wasn't exactly sure on some of the stuff that I was listening to. What exactly was I supposed to take away from it, as some of it went over my head big time. That's okay. If it's got to be one of those deals where I have to sit down and I have to watch something a second, third, or maybe a fourth time, I'm okay with that, because each time I know I'll learn something new that I didn't before. So that's okay. But just initially, from what I was seeing tonight with Bo Dallas / Uncle Howdy, I love the continuation of, why are you doing this? What makes you feel as though you're the one to do this? Do you think you're better than everybody? More specifically, do you think you're better than him being Bray Wyatt? And it's the little fine attention to detail that I appreciate. What really made this so badass, too, is the fact that when this interview was being conducted, and I said yes, I love that if you look very, very closely, this interview is being conducted inside the set of the old Firefly Funhouse. I know you guys are probably going, wait, you was able to tell? Yeah, there's a couple of, don't look so much at your subject, which is directly taking up the screen, but pay attention to what's going on in the background, and you'll see what I'm talking about. That way, it's okay if you missed it the first go around in real time, but I was peeping that out to the point I actually paused my TV. I'm like, wait a minute, is that? I was like, wait, sure enough. I'm like, damn, it is. So I like those little nuggets of homage / Easter eggs that they were sprinkling all throughout this and everything. So it would appear that Bo Dallas has, I guess, come to peace with himself. He's at peace with himself now because he recognizes that he is the reckoning, that essentially he is the one that is going to be causing carnage and mayhem going forward. Another thing that was particularly of interest is when Uncle Howdy, that is, brought up, how are you going to bring them to life? He said something along those lines, and you heard the word clay being mentioned. And Bo Dallas talks about how, hey, they may have been made from clay, but I can make them become a reality. You're hearing that, you're going, okay, is he talking about Rambling Rabbit, Sister Abigail, Huskus Pig, the Buzzard? Is he talking about these characters and how they essentially were designed and how he's going to make them come to life, or how he has made them come to life? There's just a whole lot of riddles and innuendos that's going on in that powerful 4-minute joint. It's a lot to process. It's a lot to take in. Remember what I had said last week? I said, if I have any complaints about what's going on with these Bo Dallas Uncle Howdy segments so far, as much as I'm inhaling the hell out of those, I'm inhaling them like a bag of Fritos at 4 o'clock in the morning. It happens. Or in this case, nowadays I'm enjoying the Cheetos Queso con Salsa. I love that. Look it up. That's actually pretty badass. But I'm looking at this. I'm going, okay, look, less is better. You don't have to go 4, 5, 6 minutes. Sometimes less is better. And this was another week. This was another segment where we're kind of teetering on, okay, it's a little bit too long, but man, this stuff, it's so damn good. Oh, so damn good. Nikki Cross delivering, I guess she's Sister Abigail, delivering another VHS tape to Michael Cole. And Michael Cole and the gang had to pretty much give it to the production crew so they could show us what was on it this week, which is exactly what we're talking about as far as Bo Dallas and Uncle Howdy goes. But so much psychological riddles that's going on in their mystery, all engulfed in these pieces that we've gotten these past couple of weeks. I'm enjoying it. I can't wait to see, because you just know they're going to make their presence felt at Money in the Bank. The question is, though, are they going to have this infatuation they have with Chad Gable continue at Money in the Bank? Have to wait and see how that all plays itself out. As the Liv Morgan turns saga, boy, that took a very interesting turn as we saw Damian Priest cross paths with Dominik Mysterio to ask him if he's talked to Rhea Ripley. And Dom is going, oh, yeah, talk to her. Yeah, we're cool. Everything's on the up and up. We're good. Damian Priest busting his ass out, saying, well, find that interesting because I just spoke to Rhea Ripley not that long ago. And yeah, ain't nothing good. So we find out that apparently all these weeks that Lil Dom has been saying he's talked to Rhea Ripley, he has not reached out to her whatsoever. And this infuriated the hell out of Damian Priest, who tells Dom straight up, for once and for all, handle this business that's going on with Liv Morgan. This crap needs to be, it needs to be stomped out already. It's time to move on. Time to get back to business. Poor little Dom Dom, not really a fan of that. Said a little something under his breath as Damian Priest was trying to figure out what was up there, but Dominik would not repeat what he had said. Liv Morgan hanging out in the clubhouse yet again. Boy, I tell you what, she's making herself right at home with the club and everything. Yoko Ono, is that what Michael Cole called her last week? The Yoko Ono. That is so damn funny, too, because only wrestling fans that are around my age or older are going to know about Yoko Ono. It's safe to say, unless you are a music maniac, you're a music buff, you appreciate music history, that's going to go way over your head. You pretty much are going to be like, Yoko Ono. You're going to go hop on Bing or Google and figure out what's going on with that. But, we didn't mention that last week, but I just thought that line that he threw out there, and it didn't even register with me at first when Michael Cole threw that out there last week. It never registered with me. It didn't register with me until I was sitting down the next day and I was just browsing online, and then, somebody had messaged me and we were kind of going back and forth about Raw. And then the Yoko Ono line came up, and that's when it hit me. Like, oh my God, he did. Michael Cole, he did say Yoko Ono. What the hell? Linking it to Liv Morgan. Yeah, we very well could be looking at the woman responsible for breaking up the Judgment Day when it's all said and done. I am telling you, man, I am finding this whole arc involving Liv Morgan, I'm loving it. It is the best utilization of Liv Morgan as a WWE star since she's been with the company. Man, everything is just clicking on all cylinders for this girl. It took her a while. But, everything is finally, the stars, the heavens, the cosmos, everything is finally perfectly aligned, and she's got the right type of creative behind her. And you can tell she's having fun doing all this stuff. And when you have all of that combined, it's just great work. It just makes excellent ingredients. So, especially when you have a really good supporting cast and everything. Zelina Vega was involved in a match, but right before that, she had some words as she was being interviewed. She's still reiterating the fact that this Liv Morgan and what's going on with her, trying to be a fake me out Rhea Ripley, that ain't going to really last that much longer because I'm coming for that women's championship. I will become the next women's champion. Hard to believe that Zelina Vega, all the time that she's been involved in the WWE, she has yet to capture a women's championship. That is just crazy when I hear that, because you're going, wait a minute, not once have you gotten a little bit of a taste of that championship? No? Crazy when I hear that. So we had some matches that had went down tonight. We were talking about Zelina Vega there. We can definitely go right to her. We're still kind of bouncing around a little bit here and there. Again, we're just going with the flow. We had a women's world championship match. Zelina Vega, Liv Morgan, that went down. Liv Morgan retaining the championship as expected. The fact that Dominik Mysterio got involved in there a little bit, because Dom remember, he's hell-bent on trying to get that championship away from Liv Morgan. He's trying to pay homage to Mommy. He wants to make Mommy proud and everything. No. So in the final moments of this one, Dominik and Rey Mysterio Looks like they were starting to get into a heated argument as Ray is there for Zelina. Dom, is he really there to screw Liv Morgan? Who knows? But Ray shoves Dom pretty hard. Liv comes in with a baseball slide on the Ray. Liv likes what she had did. From there, 619 from Vega. Followed up with a tornado DDT on the Liv. Near fall from there. Dom tries to slide a chair into the ring. Vega going in for the cover. It's a near fall once again. Dom sliding the chair in there. Vega grabs the chair, walks over to Dom, hits Dom with the chair. So Zelina Vega, I ain't getting the championship this way. Nope. You can forget about it. Liv taking advantage of that little bit of a distraction, coming in with the Oblivion. Boom. Retains the championship that way. Match itself, a bit average. What you're really more heavily invested in on this one is, Liv Morgan, Dominik Mysterio. What exactly is going on here? Crowd, Boston crowd, white hot, eating this up and everything. Good stuff. Worked out pretty good. But a little bit below average for my personal taste when it comes to the match in general. Speaking of average, let's not forget about that opener, Xavier Woods taking on Karrion Kross. Shout out to Karrion Kross. And this match was pretty much over and done with. You know what? I will say this. Even though this match was extremely short, the fact that they had Xavier Woods go over, I thought that was a really smart move, especially considering all the trash talking that Karrion Kross has been doing the past couple of weeks, trying to plant those seeds in there in regards to Kofi and Xavier. And now that you see how things are kind of going here, I mean, the wheel just keeps on turning here with this story arc, does it not? I mean, slowly, but it's turning. And we've seen some of those seeds that's been planted. We've seen how Xavier Woods is looking at Kofi Kingston like, dude, really? Okay, so it's a matter of, okay, who's going to turn here? And you're just looking at Xavier Woods. Look, I remember Xavier Woods' tenure when he was in TNA, and I just felt even way back then, this dude is cocky, he's brash, he's definitely arrogant and all that. I felt, you know what, he makes a pretty good heel. And given that he's had the WWE creative to be working with all of these years, I think now more than ever, as opposed to way back when before he came to WWE, I think as far as being a compelling heel goes, he would make a very interesting heel character. I can't wait to see. They can take their time, though. They can take their time. I'm all for the slow build-up. I'm all fine and for the slow build-up when it's said and done. Post-match, New Day celebrating. But AOP, as expected, coming in there, beating the holy crap out of them. Karrion Kross getting in his licks as well. Getting in that nice smile and everything. So, from there, some other stuff that went down tonight. Oh, I love the Easter egg, by the way. I'm trying to think who they had creeped up on that was backstage. They put cameras on somebody. I can't think of which WWE superstar. You know what? I want to say it was Sami Zayn. That the cameras were on because they were setting up. Oh, Sami Zayn, he's going to be coming out here. He's going to be joining us next. And I liked how behind his to his left shoulder, so just over his left shoulder behind him, I liked how they had what appeared to be Sonya Deville having a conversation with Zoey Stark. And then just out of nowhere, you freaking see Zoey Stark get pulled away. I cannot for the love of me, I'm drawing a blank, Shayna Baszler. It was Shayna Baszler that pulled Zoey Stark away as Sonya Deville just throws up her hands. I love those little subtle things that's going on here in the background. WWE does a nice little continuation there of little subplots that's going on. It's funny we're talking about the subplots because we were here less than 24 hours ago, and we were talking about, well, here's your main quest, your main story, but you got these little side arcs, right? These little side quest stories that's going on over here. Be no different than a Fallout game, right? You got your main story campaign, and if you ever get a little tired of the main story, you know, there is some side storyline quests that you can do. You don't have to do with them, but it definitely makes the overall story that more enjoyable, especially when you got the great depth that goes with it and everything. So, Seth Rollins in the house, cutting a promo, pretty much regurgitating what he's been saying since he returned, which is basically how he needs that World Heavyweight Championship. You know, he needs that validation. He wants to be the man again. Finn Balor comes out. Two of them have an exchange of words, heated words at that, but Seth Rollins getting the best of Finn Balor, reminding Finn, dude, you just out here all salty. You still crying over the fact that when it counted the most, you couldn't get the job done against me, and you never will. So, love that revisionist history that we had going on there between Rollins and Balor, and you kind of can't help but wonder if under the Triple H Paul Levesque regime, if one day Finn Balor will have his day in the sun as a World Heavyweight Champion. I think so. I am more positive and very upbeat than ever, but crazier things has happened, right? We'll see. We'll see. They're about to go at it. Damian Priest comes out. Rollins under the impression he was going to get jumped. Damian Priest letting him know, no, it's not even going down like that. By the way, nice exchange leading up to this. Nice exchange that went down backstage between Damian Priest and Finn Balor. Finn Balor giving it to Damian Priest right between the eyes, letting him know, dude, ever since you won that World Heavyweight Championship, you have changed. Even letting Damian Priest know, yo, those words that you had said last week, talking about you don't need us, but we need you. Like, come on, man. How you going to do us dirty like that? What kind of crap was that? Damian letting him know, hey, look, you know, it is the truth, right? And I like how Damian just kind of, you know, he was smooth about it. You know, it's kind of one of those, you got to apologize for calling me an asshole, right? Well, you know what? You know, thinking about it, understanding how it probably made you feel. No, I'm not going to apologize. It's kind of one of those type of deals, and I loved it. I loved how Damian tried to give a half-ass, you know, hey, this is why I'm right, and, you know, you're essentially wrong and everything. But, you know, Damian Priest, they missed a good opportunity there in regards to Damian Priest, because I think the way that they should have had Damian Priest counter Finn Balor, it should have been, with all due respect, Finn, you haven't held a World Heavyweight Championship that long. But let me tell you something. Once you get it, and you've had it for as long as I have, you know, everybody wants you. You have this target on your back, and day in and day out, you got to step up to the challenge. You can't bitch. You can't complain. You got to just put your head down, go forward. You'll understand that one day if you ever get an opportunity to get back to the mountaintop. I just wish there would have been that nice little zing on to Finn Balor and everything. Coming from Damian Priest, that would have further, if you want to maybe put that knife into the back or in the stomach of the Judgment Day members, okay, fine. That's just me. Some of you guys may looked at that segment and be like, no, it was actually okay. It was good for what it was worth. But, you know, for me, I wish they could have gone there a little bit more. But you know what? It is what it is. So Seth ends up challenging Damian Priest to a fight right then and there. But Damian Priest walks down, with the mic and the title and all that. They go into it for a little bit. Seth says, we don't have to wait until Saturday's Money in the Bank. We can pretty much fight right here and now. Priest talks about how he's down, but then Finn Balor, out of nowhere, attacks. Seth drops him, turns to Priest. Finn back on the attack again. Priest grabs Finn. Priest actually grabs Finn Balor off of Seth Rollins and tells him he wants to do this on his own. He wants to be a solo act on this one. Seth Rollins ends up drop kicking both men, super kicking, I should say, both men. Does that stomp, trademark stomp onto Balor. Turns, Priest hits him with the South of Heaven choke slam. That pretty much was it. Later on, it kind of seemed as though Balor and Priest had a kumbaya moment, as Priest told him, look, in regards to Rollins, he's all mine, okay? I got this. Comprende? Balor going, all right, yeah, you got it. Take care of your business. Money in the Bank, women's qualifying match. Dakota Kai taking on Ivy Nile, taking on Zoey Stark. Triple threat there. Zoey Stark picking up the win. All of a sudden, I'm thinking about Ozzy Osbourne, like a shot in the dark. Literally, this was a shot in the dark. I was not expecting Zoey Stark to come out of this with the W. If anything, I was expecting for, if I had to pick, I was really, really gunning there for Ivy Now. I don't know about you guys, but I was really pulling for Ivy Now there. I see so much great upside in her. And if you do it just right, I think she would have had some really cool spots in there for Money in the Bank. So they went with Zoey Stark. Now, look, hear me out. I think in regards to Zoey Stark, this could potentially be more of an angle. This all relates back to what we was just talking about earlier with Sonya Deville and all that. I can't help but wonder if the way WWE will try to tie Zoey Stark picking up this win is because maybe at some point she sat down with Sonya Deville and they went over tape on all, certain matches or all the matches that they've had up to this point of Dakota Kai and Ivy Now. And if maybe Sonya Deville and that whole process was helping Zoey Stark. Okay, look, you got to avoid this. Okay, look, when this goes down, all right, you got to come in there. You got to go for this. I can't help but wonder if maybe it'll tie back somehow to Sonya. If it does not tie back to Sonya, then this honestly just, you're just looking at this going, yeah, nah, you can miss me with that. Match itself, though, meh. All said and done, just meh. Wasn't shitty, but it's just it was okay. It was okay. From there, Dominik Mysterio taking on Rey Mysterio. Liv Morgan making her presence felt once again. I loved how when Dom went out of the ring, he ends up on top of Liv Morgan. And Liv Morgan is just grabbing him by the waist. It's kind of like, where you going, dude? Stay right here. Make yourself at home, why don't you? I love that. Oh, my God. I lost it when I saw that. I just died in tears seeing that. I love that. I love that whole sequence. That was badass. Zelina Vega coming right back out there, attacking Liv Morgan. The Mysterios going at it once again here. Rey Mysterio picking up the win. Fun match. It was a fun match. I love this one for what it was worth. Very entertaining. Liv shined like a mofo in this one, I gotta say. I gotta give her credit, man. I'm really loving her work. Really loving her work. Another great highlight of the night. Sami Zayn, Braun Breaker, their great segment together. Boy, that Braun Breaker. That young man is definitely a bona fide star, bona fide stud. But y'all already know that. I mean, I've been singing this guy's praises since NXT days, so he's coming along, though. But this segment, we had Sami Zayn and Braun mouthing off to one another. Sami letting Braun know, yo, I've heard it time and time and time and time again of folks that think they're going to take away this championship away from me. And if you think that you're going to be able to take this championship away from me, well, you haven't done your homework. Pretty much checkmating Braun right there on the spot and everything. And also letting him know he'll see him at Money in the Bank. Ooh, not good. Not good. Braun gets ready to leave the ring. He's actually in between the ropes, getting ready to make his exit. And then just that mighty explosiveness that we have come to know and appreciate from Braun. Badass. I mean, he just hits him with a spear out of nowhere. Action spills to the outside of the ring. I love that freaking great overhead camera shot that they've been doing of Braun when he gets ready to do that run around the circle. Boom, goes for the spear. They had that angle once again. This time, Braun misses the spear as Sami was able to move out of the way in time. They go at it a little bit. Sami gets in a little bit of an offense before, boom, out of nowhere, Breaker hits him with another spear. And that pretty much was the end of that bad boy. So, some good stuff right there. Backstage segment, Damage Control. They're asked by Kathy if Dakota Kai losing in that Money in the Bank qualifier, if that's going to change how things are possibly going to be going down at Money in the Bank. Kai says no, nothing changes. In comes Lyra Valkyria, who says she'll climb that ladder faster to win that Money in the Bank briefcase. Kai says she's not even going to make it to Money in the Bank, but then comes Kaden Carter and Katana Chance beating the crap out of Damage Control. Main event match, qualifying match, Dragunov versus McIntyre. Drew McIntyre versus Sheamus. Banger of a match. Since when does Dragunov... I don't listen to Dragunov talk enough, but now all of a sudden Dragunov almost kind of sounds a little bit like low-key. Just a little bit. Like, close your eyes and just... He almost kind of has a low-key voice going on there. Fucking badass. Drew McIntyre picking up the win. You know, big thoughts going into this qualifying matchup. Was CM Punk gonna make his presence felt here, or nah, when it counts the most? Maybe this weekend. No CM Punk sighting here tonight. No trolling. Nothing going on. No innuendo. No cryptic messages. Nothing going on here tonight. Drew McIntyre coming out the victor. Fantastic main event match. Dragunov looked like he was not misplaced at all. For you Dragunov fans, you didn't watch this match. He held his own extremely well with these two veterans. He looked like he belonged in the ring with those guys. Badass match. Honestly, the match of the night from this episode of Raw. The one thing I did not appreciate, though, I got to take a point deduction off from this match. The one thing that I was not feeling was the fact that, and I remember this, I remember it was the 50-minute going on the 51-minute mark of the final hour of the broadcast during this main event match. And then WWE decides they got to take a commercial break, and you're just going, wait, how does this make any, wait, what? And then they come back at the 55-minute mark, and you're going, Like, dude, come on, like you're killing us here, right? So I didn't appreciate that all of a sudden, that last minute commercial break, because I felt it really took away from an overall very solid matchup here. But a very good go home, selling the hell out of the Money in the Bank. Nice build up to the pay-per-view and everything. Let's see what you guys had to say. Curious. Let's go to Twitter at the RCWR show. See how you guys had voted here. Let's see here. I got to make sure I put in my login credentials. My Outlook account on my tablet keeps asking me to log in here. All right. So your options: awesome show, good show, below average show, terrible show. We got a tie at 50% right now. Half of you felt it was a good show. The other half of you felt it was a awesome show. So that's how that's looking. And let's see what you guys are saying via YouTube here. YouTube.com/the RCWR show. While I got that loading up, hey, if you want to treat me to a cup of coffee and a donut, just check out the episode description. We got the links. I take PayPal, Cash App. There's some other ones that's in there too. Just check out the episode description. 100% of you on YouTube are saying good show. So keep the voting coming in. By the way, I want to circle back and I want to look at the final polling results for AEW Forbidden Door. I see from YouTube, 10% of you felt that the pay-per-view event was a good show. Meanwhile, 20% of you felt it was a below average show. I see 20% of you also voted that it was a terrible show. Coming in top dog, 50% of you felt it was a flawless show. Meanwhile, over on Twitter, and I'll be able to pull this up very quickly because I really haven't been tweeting that much today. 5% of you felt it was a terrible show, while 16% of you said it was a below average show. 32% of you thought it was a flawless show, and top dog, 47% of you said Forbidden Door was a good show. Shout out to everybody that voted on all of those polls. Appreciate you guys big time. So, look here, right? In regards to Forbidden Door, I still stand behind the rating that I gave the pay-per-view. For those of you that did not check out the post-show, I ended up giving it a C letter grade. I couldn't go higher. I wasn't going to go any lower. For number scale-wise, 1 being crap, 10 being awesome sauce, I was at around a 6 when it was all said and done. So here we are, 24 hours later. I still feel that way when it's all said and done. I'm not going to waver from that and everything. One thing that I think is very interesting, though, which is this. AEW has Will Ospreay. MJF just made his return. You've got Mercedes Mone. And what was AEW Dynamite's rating this past week? Am I understanding that right? AEW hit like 502,000 for their viewership. And I'm just like, wait, what? Right? I mean, that's like what happened? What happened here? What, 500 is, wait, that can't be right. Like, that can't be right. It just brings about a very interesting question here, which is what gives? You've got Will Ospreay, you've got Mercedes Mone, you've got MJF, and you can't consistently see 800 plus thousand as far as your viewership goes. What is going on here? And I know we had a listener last night during the Forbidden Door show, and it was pretty obvious that he is a big supporter of AEW. That's the nicest way that we can summarize his comments that he had left during the Forbidden Door pay-per-view. And you know what? That's great that he is a supporter, right down to the point. I remember he pushed back on the idea of, there's got to be storylines. There's got to be that emotional context as far as story arcs goes and everything, so that you can have that better connection for some of these matches that you're seeing and all of that. His whole thing was he didn't care for story arcs. He just wants to see straight up wrestling. That's what he cares about the most. And we've known for the longest time that AEW loves to go in. As far as stories go, that is like third or fourth on the list. Number one, it's all about putting together the best matches humanly possible. And look, when you look at the Forbidden Door pay-per-view events that they've done these past couple of years, mission is accomplished as far as what AEW is trying to do. They're in this unique position where they're able to put these dream match cards together, per se. And, okay, we're not really doing anything here as far as stories goes. We can just, match, have at it, right? And you know what? There's nothing really wrong with that if you want to enjoy a pay-per-view where you don't have to really focus on, well, what was the story arc here, so I can understand the history, why these two people are going at it. If you just want to put the remote control down, kick back in your recliner, and just watch some really good matches, okay, great. But that's the Forbidden Door pay-per-view that we're talking about. That only happens once a year. We're talking about what's going on the other 364 days out of the year as far as AEW programming goes. And sadly, with the current formula that you got going on right now in AEW, it is all about matches. Maybe, just maybe, there will be possibly one story arc right over here, if you want to call it that. Where's your story? Where's your angle? Well, you got this one, maybe two, that's over here. But that's pretty much it. We're just fighting, and if there ain't fighting going on, somebody's turning. Every single time you turn around, you lose focus after a while. Wait a minute, wasn't this person a babyface 2 months ago? Now they're a heel? No. They were a heel 3 months ago. Then they went babyface. Now they're a heel again. Like, well, what's going on? Jericho has been in so many stables since AEW's inception. It's not even funny. I mean, it is, but you get the gist of what I'm talking about here. So you're looking at certain things and you're going, man, what is going on here with AEW? And I tell you what, if there's one positive thing, and I want to make sure I really home in on this because I meant to bring this up on the Forbidden Door post show last night. But if there's one thing that I saw from Forbidden Door where I go, you know what, Tony Khan and crew, this is what you need to latch on to. And essentially you need to use this as a tent pole. We kind of learned this in my creative writing and video portfolio class when it comes to writing scripts for TV shows and things of that nature. There's like a certain formula that you want to have go down, where this ultimately is at the top. That is pretty much going to serve as your tent pole per se, and everything is going to come right up under it. I've talked about it before a couple of months back and everything, but I like what they did with Will Ospreay and Swerve Strickland. Because, again, and some people can go, no, I just knew Swerve Strickland was going to retain because, for whatever respected reason, insert. Like, you don't definitively know because this is AEW, and AEW has been notorious, and I mean that in a good way, of going, no, we're going to go with what social media is buzzing about right now. We're going to go with what people are talking about right now, and it seems that the crowd is in this direction, so you got to give the people what they want. I like and respect the hell out of the fact that with Swerve Strickland, they used Will Ospreay as an opportunity to get Swerve Strickland over to that next level. They made sure that Swerve Strickland came out of that mofo truly like a main eventer. They made him look like a fucking stud. And I love that. I love that. The great story arc that you had that was going on in there, and at the end, when it was all said and done, look, this really wasn't anything personal. This was just about digging down deep, doing whatever was necessary for the case of Swerve to retain that world title. So the match itself, the story arc, everything these past couple of weeks leading to what we had saw over the weekend, I mean, it was a great freaking payoff. As I like to say on this show, you're only as good as your dance partner. And look, Swerve did his part, but Will Ospreay, his mission, should he choose to accept it, is to make Swerve Strickland come out of there looking like a goddamn stud. And the mission was accomplished. I would like for Tony Khan to take all of the ingredients that he had going on in that match, as far as the storytelling, all of that. I would love for him to be able to take that blueprint. That works. Everything that was going on with that feud, going into that match, take everything from that blueprint and essentially replicate it throughout. Whether you got to put some comedy, depending on who the character is, like if you're going to involve Danhausen or Cassidy, right? Something calls for comedy. Okay, that's fine. I understand that we can't always be serious. I get that. We got to do some haha stuff and all that. I get that. But that Will Ospreay, Swerve Strickland, that was some of the finest, strongest work to date by Tony Khan and crew, right? And obviously, hey, you might have this great vision, but it's not as good if you don't have the right cast in place to be able to execute. And yes, Ospreay, Swerve, definitely they need to get their flowers, but so too does the people involved in whoever was laying out that match, how they've been laying out their angles on television when they've come across each other and everything. Because it actually, for me, often on these past couple of weeks, when I would dip in and check them out on Dynamite or try to watch Collision, knowing that, oh, okay, they're going to be on, their stuff, the progression, great shit. So if they can somehow take that winning concept, apply it, I think they will definitely rebound better in the ratings for sure. But to just, as it stands right now, just to know the caliber of talent that Tony Khan and AEW has, and all you're able to bring in right now is a little over 500-something thousand for viewers. That is just mind-boggling in itself. It really is. But what do I know? And we're told everything is fine. AEW is doing some of its best. It's fine. No problems. Okay. All right, sure. Whatever, dude. Whatever. But that's my thoughts in regards to that. So I definitely wanted to circle back and talk about that a little bit more. So hopefully, if you're an AEW fan, you'll find some of what I had said to be, very... Okay, well, he was, pretty complimentary there. He kind of looked at the glass half full there, and, he wasn't hating. Like, I never hate on a promotion. You guys should know me by now. I never hate on a promotion. I always try to give love where love is due and everything. Hey, look, let's talk about that final episode of Who Killed WCW. I don't have much to say in regards to this. I see we're a little bit over the hour mark already. I'll be done with this before we even hit an hour 10, right? So, I mean, it's like maybe 5 minutes or less. Episode 4, the series finale. I really didn't learn anything new. Honestly, we could have ended this with episode 3, and I would have been fine. But, to hear that Eric Bischoff was just so damn close to ironing out the deal. I mean, he literally had an agreement. He was supposed to be the new boss of WCW. Eric Bischoff was able to find some people, gather up the money, right? First of all, if you want to know, did I learn anything new? As far as all of that goes, no. But where I was a little bit, I can't think of the guys' names now. I should have looked up the names right before I came on live. Brad Siegel, I know for sure. That's one of the guys that I'm thinking of. But Brad Siegel and the other guy, apparently they were the best of friends or whatnot. The guy that was working down there in WWE. You're trying to tell me that they did not talk about the sale of WCW? You're trying to tell me that they did not try to come up with a way where we can't let Eric Bischoff get WCW? We got to somehow get it into the hands of WWE. If you are to lead me to believe that no, everything was on the up and up, there was no, come on. And Brad Siegel came off wishy-washy from the moment that you first saw him, but definitely as you went into episode 2, you're going, yo, this dude's a snake. This dude is a slithering little freaking snake. Like, don't trust that guy for nothing. I didn't learn really anything new, though, because I have the Nitro book. I've read the Nitro book off and on the past couple of years. I'm pretty close to finishing it, but, like, I know just about 80%, right? So I really did not learn anything new that was just, like I said, it could have ended on the 3rd episode, and I would have been fine with it. Totally would have been fine with it. It's funny because I remember when all of this stuff had went down in real time, and as a wrestling fan and my friends and I, how we all were just checking out forums, participating in discussion boards, trying to understand what was going on with WCW, trying to process everything that had went down in real time, and just going, oh, wow, so, oh, wow, that's what happened? Oh, wait, say what? I remember how it was way back then, and it was heartbreaking to find out, wow, WCW is going to be no more. I remember myself and my friends, that final year of WCW, we pieced out. We pieced out. We were tired of seeing the bullshit that was of Vince Russo and crew. We were tired of that crap. It was like, this is trash. This is trash. If this is how it's going to be with WCW, yeah, you know what? We're okay. We're good. We're good. You used to see some really damn good matches. Look, there was a time where if you didn't care for the main card of WCW, if you didn't care for the main stars, that was cool because you had that light heavyweight division, that cruiserweight division for WCW. And as long as you had that, it was like, yo, but man, they captured that good. They did capture that good when they were talking about how when the Radicals left for WWF. Oh, that was a huge blow, right? That was a huge blow. Jericho ultimately rolled. That was a huge blow, man. Huge blow. But I remember me and my friends, we all dipped out on that shit. We were like, okay, if they're going to roll like this, okay, we've got WWF, we've got ECW, and, forget that WCW crap. That's how we were. But, man, when we found out that WCW was going to be no more and the final Nitro was coming up, oh, man, we represented. We represented. I remember we all had hung out at my best friend's house for the final Nitro. We're watching it all in real time. And, man, when we saw Vince McMahon, they really did not do that particular portion. They did not do that justice. I really wish that Jason and them and $7, I really wish they would have talked to some hardcore fans that was around back then watching all of that stuff with the Monday Night War and everything to really get their reactions, because they really did not capture it. But when we saw Vince McMahon appear on WCW programming, to say that mouths were on the floor would be a damn understatement. I remember when that went down, there was a big gasp, and there was silence and shock for several minutes because we all could not believe that we were seeing Vince McMahon on WCW programming. And we're like, what the fuck? And then how ultimately it morphed into Shane McMahon buying WCW, and he was the true owner, and we're just all looking at you, and we're all like, oh, and all. They really did not capture that. They really did not. I wish they would have, because that was just, and that was the talk on the AOL, the YouTube, not YouTube, but the Yahoo chat rooms. That was the talk of that. The forums, school, work. That was the talk way back then. And that invasion just wasn't what it was. You had all those talents that was able to kick back, continue collecting money for X amount of years. Why would you want to ruin a good thing? Like, seriously, that's why it took a hot minute before we saw Kevin Nash, Scott Hall, and the Hulkster pop up. Now, when you got all that guaranteed money, seriously. So, it's interesting, when you get ready to put a pretty little ribbon on it and everything, right down to the point, I polled you guys a couple of weeks ago, last week, as a matter of fact, when that 4th episode came out. I asked you guys on YouTube, all right, so now that we got all 4 episodes out there, assuming you've seen them all, who, in you all's opinion, was responsible for killing WCW? I want to reveal to you those results as it stands right now. Hey, it's funny because as I'm loading that up, my wife and I, something that we always talk about from time to time, and we definitely had talked about it when it came to this 4th episode. Yeah, man, that AOL Time Warner, dude, man, that sucked. Remember the WB stores? Like, yeah, I used to love going there and out here in DC. And that's something else that I wish they would have talked about just a little bit. They didn't have to put great emphasis on it, but it's something I wish they really would have talked about as well. But when that whole AOL Time Warner deal, came to be and everything, besides WCW, the other casualties was those WB stores. And you had people that were working at those WB stores for a decent amount of years. They were able to make some decent money off of that. They had nice various locations. Warner Brothers merch always sold. Always sold. Whether we talking T-shirts, toys, hoodies, pillows, blankets, whatever you want. Stuff was always. And I remember out here in DC, it was in Northwest DC. It was almost right around the Union Station area where they had a WB store. That thing was always busy. It was always packed. And I remember I had compared notes with wifey because there was another WB store that she used to go to. And it was like, was it always crowded? Where she's like, yeah, I was always crowded. It's like, yeah. And that was like the main theme I remember way back then. But when that Time Warner deal went down, those stores were no more. So not only did, the men and women in front of the camera and behind the cameras for WCW, not only were they, hey, out of a job, but those WB stores, everybody associated with those WB stores, they ended up not having a job as well. Although the death of those WB stores, it happened much slower than what happened with WCW. Polled you guys on YouTube, and this is how the final results are looking right now. 10% of you are saying that Brad Siegel and Stu Snyder, that's the guy I was thinking about. Those are the two besties. Brad Siegel and Stu Snyder coming in last place with 10% of the votes. 40% of you felt that Vince Russo is the one responsible for killing WCW. And coming in top dog, and yes, Eric Bischoff is an option, but nobody, at least as far as our respected poll goes, nobody blamed Eric Bischoff. Some could maybe look at that and go, yeah, just to be devil's advocate. But when you look at the way this docuseries was set up, it kind of seems as though, and you can make an argument that they were trying to paint Eric Bischoff in a positive light. You can make that argument, sure. If you want to also look at it and go, well, but was he really to blame for, there's probably some things he did that did not help, but at the same time, 83 weeks, he was kicking the WWE's ass. So he's obviously doing something right? But in either case, for our poll, nobody blamed Eric Bischoff. Coming in at top dog, Jamie Kellner, the late Jamie Kellner, too. Remember, he had passed last week, right before. I think he passed a day or two before the 4th episode of Who Killed WCW dropped. And Jamie Kellner, here's something else that a lot of people aren't talking about in regards to Jamie Kellner. This guy was ultimately responsible for, like Married with Children. Without Jamie Kellner in place, Married with Children would have never happened. By the way, there's a really funny Ed O'Neill story that you guys should look up online where he's on the Rich Eisen show. And he talks about how he had just found out recently that he was potentially going to be fired after the pilot episode of Married with Children. Look it up. It's a really fun story as Ed O'Neill is, recounting everything. But Jamie Kellner also, when you think about Buffy the Vampire Slayer, he was responsible for having the ultimate say in whether or not Buffy the Vampire Slayer would continue on the WB. When it went away, that was because of his ass. There's like a whole bunch of stuff. Like when you look up his name alone and you just go, wow, he was responsible for this. Oh, wow, so this went down because of this guy. Like there's so much stuff that is just intertwined with him and everything. So the fact that 50% of you had said Jamie Kellner is the one responsible for the demise of WCW. Where do I stand? I think, look, I'm answering the question. It may sound kind of wishy-washy, but I'm answering the question. I'm taking Eric Bischoff out of the equation, and because Eric Bischoff, when it was all said and done, he had a plan in place, and the shit was pretty much yoinked from underneath his feet at the end of the day. So he tried, and can you blame the guy for not showing up at the final Nitro? I know if I had a deal that was in place and, wait a minute, y'all gonna burn me like that? Like, seriously? What the? I can relate to that. Truly. It's like, nah, F you, F all y'all. I'm out of here. Peace. Right? So I don't blame Eric Bischoff whatsoever. Say what you will about Vince Russo, but when I look at Vince Russo, I just look at him as an individual and I just go, yeah, man, ain't no one individual bigger than the wrestling promotion itself. So if you're going to have that type of ego and you're going to do this type of harm to the product and to its fan base and alienate them to the point where they're going elsewhere, nah, man, we're going to go back to basics. You know what? This is a cosmetic issue that's going on here. This can definitely be fixed. You're out, right? But when I start looking at the higher up guys, that's the guys that are with Turner, who never wanted wrestling in the first place. They never wanted wrestling in the first place, and they were appalled at the idea of a wrestling program taking up prime real estate on Monday nights, Thursday nights, and this is something else that I wish Jason Eisner and them really would have doubled down on and they really would have highlighted tremendously. Going back to that time period of the 1990s, for those of us that, whether we were young kids or we were teenagers, we all know very well that during the 1990s, going into the 2000s, what was so damn big and popular back then was prime time TV. Believe it or not, people, there was a time where Monday night, Tuesday nights, Wednesday night, Thursday nights, you had to be in front of that television from 8 to 10 p.m. because you were seeing some hit TV shows that was on. And there was no, oh, well, I'll just DVR this and I'll watch it later. No, you didn't have any of that crap going on, right? You didn't have Google or Siri or Alexa telling you, hey, this is what's going to come on at this. No, it was old school way back when. If you had cable, then you had the TV Guide channel. If you didn't care for that, then what was still popular way back then was a physical copy of TV Guide. And you would know, my God, in my household, in the Sanders household, we bought the TV Guides religiously. Didn't those things come out like once a week? I think the way they had it set up, you had your programming for that whole week in a TV Guide. And then pretty much you had to go, like next time you're at the grocery store, check out, pick up the next issue, for the new week or whatever. But yeah, you'd be flipping through the pages and you would find out, what's going to come on and everything. And you had to make sure you programmed in your head, hey, Monday night, I got to be sitting down. But man, so many households back in the day, that 8 to 10 o'clock time slot, watching hit TV shows, Friends, Seinfeld, ER, The Cosby Show, A Different World, Rock, Living Single, New York Undercover. I know I'm leaving out so many other hit shows from back in the day, but like there were some heavy hitting, if you really sit down, you think about it, you do your research, and you just see the millions of viewerships combined that were coming in from all of those shows. And then to see what wrestling was doing, in this case for WCW, on a Monday night and then on a Thursday night, that's like some prime time freaking real estate right there. And the people at Turner just alienated like a mofo at the idea of wrestling occupying those, like it was just beneath them. It was, it's no different, and most people aren't really going to remember this, but I'm almost reminded of the first rodeo that WWE had with Sci-Fi when SmackDown had moved over to Sci-Fi. Almost that same douchebag chill vibes that the Turner execs had for WCW. The people behind the Sci-Fi network were not fans whatsoever of SmackDown being on Sci-Fi. They did not give a damn about the viewership numbers that WWE was able to bring in weekly. They did not give a damn about the star power. They didn't give a damn if SmackDown was winning in its key demos and viewership. It didn't matter if they were number one. It didn't matter if they were in the top 10, top 25. It didn't matter. People over there at Sci-Fi, they hated SmackDown. And they were relieved like a mofo when SmackDown ultimately was off of Sci-Fi. Some fun trivia stuff for you guys. Now you know. So that's that. That was kind of multi-layered, but, you know, I'm glad we kind of, you know. But that was, of the 3 episodes, that was definitely the most disappointing episode. I really did not learn anything new. There were so many opportunities where they could have really gone in a little bit deeper on certain things, but they chose to not do that. Hey, it is what it is. So, hey, I see that former WWE wrestler Dijak had put out his statement online concerning his WWE release. Me and Tams, we talked about that at great length on Wrestling with the Topics. Yes, that series is back. In case you guys are not aware, that episode is available on demand and on the downloads wherever you get your podcasts. So definitely search for it. We talked about that at great length, but in a new update, I see that Dijak had some things to say, apparently, as the man did not even wait that long, as he made an appearance at a indie wrestling event over the weekend. You know, his last official day with WWE was basically June 28th, and then you pretty much go right into the weekend, and then he just randomly appears at this wrestling event. I'm actually looking up the joint right now. Hang on here. So apparently he returned to the Indies at the Blitzkrieg Pro. Am I pronouncing that right? Let me take my glasses off a second. Blitzkrieg Pro Wrestling? Let's see here. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. Yeah, but apparently these guys have been around since 2015. They are an independent pro wrestling promotion that is infused with punk rock ethics, apparently. But, you know, Dijak, he returns. And I tell you what, I will just let this promo speak for itself. So you guys that maybe have not heard this, you guys can marinate on it. Let's load this up for you guys. Well, first off, we got to make sure that I'm connected to my mixer. So hang on here, because what we want is we want to pair up. Yeah, I've yet to pair up my device here. I've yet to pair up the phone with my mixer here. So let me do that. This only takes a couple of seconds, but it's worth the wait. There it is. And yes, we are now connected. Okay, I'm going to let this play. It's about 2 minutes long, all right? So I'm going to let this play. Let's go for it. Doesn't sound like anything's playing. Yeah, nothing's playing. Hang on. Okay, something's playing for you guys. Hang on.
Okay. 2 weeks. Last night, I didn't have any plans of coming here. Last night, I still work for WWE. Not any fucking more. I saw something I wanted, and I came and I fucking took it. You guys are in store for something really, really fucking special. Because from now on, if I want to do something, I fucking do it. I don't give a shit what state, I don't give a shit what country, what promotion. I'm gonna go wherever the hell I want, whenever the hell I want, and take whatever the fuck I want. So if you got some glasses on, take them off, open your eyes, take a good look, because this is exactly what the world of professional wrestling has in store for them for the ever-seen future. This is a place for those
Why it's buffering.
who've been around here for a long time.
Vega.
This is one of the places where I made my name in professional wrestling. So not only am I going to come and take whatever I want, but I'm going to give it all back to you.
Can I just pause this real quick? I got to ask the question. I did not do my research on this, so I apologize in advance. But anybody else that has seen the video or is familiar with this promotion, fill in the gaps for us. I doubt I'm going to research this, so you're more than welcome to respond to this even after the fact. But let us know. Did he beat the crap out of somebody? Because I'm looking at this. He's wearing, for folks that didn't see this, he's wearing all black. He's got a long leather jacket coat on. Black boots, black pants, black shirt, black sunglasses, black hat, Cadillac. Yeah, the boys are coming back. Who sings that song? Anyway, but he's out of breath. I'm like, damn, what the hell did this guy do? Anyway, he talks for a couple more seconds here. Let's load it up.
So line up, get in line. I'm gonna be here all fucking night to meet every single one of you, to shake every one of your hands, to thank you for being here for me, for being here for them, and for being here for everyone. And you can feast your fucking eyes on that.
It just comes off so tacky. It just comes off so tacky, man. I'm just like kind of, because let me see if I got this straight. So you were seen in front of millions of households for the duration that you were with the WWE. You were there for 5 years. You were able to make some pretty good money. Like, I don't dip in people's pockets, but from what I understand of the WWE contracts from back then, if you were able to sign one, you're making some pretty decent money and everything, right? So all of that combined, all right, for whatever respected reason, things did not work out with WWE. All right, you roll out. And, we see what he was doing as far as, hey, I'm accepting bookings, blah this, blah that. A lot of people were under the impression, man, and I'm talking about from the AEW side of things, a lot of people were going, man, how badass would it be if we're watching Forbidden Door and somehow Dijak pops up? Like, man, that'd be a huge ass signing. Do you think it's, and to the point, a lot of people worked themselves up into a frenzy. They just knew for a fact their beliefs. They just knew for a fact Dijak was going to show up in AEW, especially since Tony Khan has said, hey, I'm going to aggressively go after free agents, right? But didn't come to be. Instead, we get him, Dijak, that is, at this indie event where, you've got about 10, maybe 12 people going, woo, woo, yeah, yeah. All right. So it just came off. I did not like the promo. There was just, for my personal taste, there was just way too many F-bombs. And it's like, why are you throwing this many F-bombs out there, man? Like, I get that it's the Indies, but like, still, why are you throwing all these F-bombs out there? You were just on Broadway. And as I've said for years, WWE is Broadway. Okay? Everything else is just pretty much preparing you for Broadway. There's nothing wrong with doing local theater plays and all of that. There's nothing wrong with that. But you're ultimately trying to get the Broadway, right? You're ultimately trying to get the Hollywood, okay? So to see him in this kind of realm, and at such a fast rate, mind you, at such a fast rate. It's not a case where I understand that there was no 90-day non-compete clause. And we talked about how WWE is now in this position where it looks as though the days of 90-day non-compete, like those days are over. They're just letting contracts just expire, right? If they decide they don't want to use you anymore, you're chilling on the sidelines for X amount of time until your joint comes up. Like, that's how they're pretty much rolling now. They can afford to roll like that. Hey, more power to them. But this just rubbed me off on so many levels the wrong way that when I first saw this on social media, and shout out to Kev Castle, because Kev Castle was one that had shared this, and he basically was responding to somebody else that was sharing the video. So it was like this weird domino effect. And Kev Castle said it best, and I followed up right behind him afterwards and put in my 2 cents. But Kev Castle said, I like Dijak, but this just came off low rent. Yes, low rent. That is it. And not just because 37 people cheered at best. Dijak needs to be more select and calculated in trying to convince fans that WWE got it wrong with him. And this wasn't it. Good thing you get more chances to fix these things on the indies. I immediately followed up after I, 1, watched the video, but then 2, saw what Kev said, and I liked what he said, and I responded to him. I said, agreed, 10,000%. Not a good look at all. I said luck, but hey, it was like after, I think, 2 in the morning. I was getting kind of tired. But I was saying not a good look at all. This takes away from the mystique and current positive narrative that's out there. He can afford to take his time and be strategic on bookings and his overall presentation. No need to rush. And Kev liked that. He was like, he gave me a gift. He was like, you're the man. Nicolas Cage, you're the man. It was like, but that's exactly, I'm looking at this and I'm going, dude, like WWE, they could have hit you with a 90-day non-compete bullshit thing. They didn't do that. They just let your contract. Hopefully you were still collecting money, right? And right down to the point, you're able to put out that nice little letter on social media. Kind of silly, but you're able to put out that nice little letter. Filling up your booking dates, all that good stuff. Okay, cool. And yet, 1 day removed from being with WWE, you do this low rent shindig. It just came off so tacky. It would be the equivalent of you've been dating a hot model. So this covers, men and women, because I know we have male and female audiences. But it would be no different than, that reminds me, I got to finish watching this show on ID. It was this weird series I began watching on Investigation Discovery of these social media influencers. I guess that turned killers or whatever. Shout out if you know what I'm talking about. But that thing just, I was watching some joint. Anyway, before I get sidetracked any further. But it'd be no different than, you're dating a really cool, hot-looking model. I mean, they are like social media influencer, they look like that kind of model. They are just drop dead gorgeous. Okay? And man, you're with them and it's nothing but the finer things in life, nothing but good times, right? Every time you get on the airplane, you're doing first class. You're doing all that, right? So, and you're doing this for quite a while. You're with this person, for some years. And then, for whatever respected reason, things don't quite work out anymore between you and that person. They decide, hey, we should see other people, and hey, if we happen to find ourselves coming back together, then hey, it is what it is. But, let's just remain good friends and, let's see other people. And the first thing that you decide to do after you are done dating this person, right? You decide, I'm going to find the first freaking person that walks through that door or whatever. No, it's not Rob Van Dam. Shout out if you get that. But you get like a total 180. The income bracket ain't, I don't know. Like, it's just all bad, right? The person's missing some teeth, right? It's just all fucking bad, okay? Like, wait a minute. You was just in a relationship for X amount of, don't you think you should kind of take your time here and, just test the waters, really see what's out there, you don't have to spread yourself out there all at once. And I was just so disappointed with Dijak doing this because I know what the guy is capable of. And I want him to go on to do bigger and better things. I want him to prove that, hey, what WWE did here and how they handled me, it was a huge mistake. I'm going to let them pay for it too, right? I'm going to show them. I'm going to make them wish that, they didn't do me how they did me because I kind of felt a little disrespected there. Okay, all right, I hear you. I love it. You've got the crowds. You got the fans in the palm of your hands. I get it. I love it. Now go out there and make sure that everything that you're doing complements that, and to the point, I know me and Tams talked about this on Wrestling with the Topics, but when you do stuff like what Dijak did over the weekend, it totally negates his asking price for doing podcasts, interviews of any type. For those of you that didn't, his asking price is out there as far as what he's looking for to do interviews. And when you hear the amount, you're going to be shocked. Keep that in the back of your mind when you're seeing this type of stuff that you're seeing with him out there doing what he did. He could have been more. Now, look, we don't know his financial situation. We don't know what's going on with him at home. We don't know if he put himself in a position over X amount of years that he was with the WWE in saving money for a rainy day. We don't know if he was fiscally or financially responsible in that standpoint and saving as much as possible. We don't know the type of lifestyle that he's currently living and how he has to maintain that and he can't really be, we don't know what's going on. Not that I'm giving him an excuse. I'm not giving him an out. I'm just looking at it from all angles here. But the optics of this, it just, I've seen my fair share since I've been doing this show since 2011. I've seen my fair share of folks that have been released from WWE, or maybe they've been released from TNA, and they are just quietly taking their time and they're being very strategic in, okay, what do I do next? How do I go about handling, my name, my brand, right? My face and all, like, this is me. I have to sell this. I got to know my worth. And then I got to make sure that I'm able to go out there and I get that because I'm not willing to accept anything less than that, and they're very smart about it, to a lot of the people's credit. I've seen some bad ones, some really, really bad ones, but I've seen most of the time some really smart, damn good ones. And, Dijak right here, it was just kind of one of those head scratching moments that just kind of made me go, come on, man. I could understand it if you were down at the Performance Center for 5 years and you only did 3 matches. Okay, I can understand it. Hey, whoever the first indie company is that wants to book me, like, I could understand that, right? Wonder what his asking price is on the indies. Shout out to our folks out there. I wonder what his asking price is on the indies. How low is it, if it's that low at all? I wonder. If I were to put a ballpark figure out there, I wonder if he's maybe asking for, what do you think a guy like Dijak is asking for? Do you think a reasonable asking price would be $5,000? Do you think that's reasonable enough, or are you kind of going, nah, that needs to be a little bit lower? Sound off. I'm very curious I'm very curious. But shout out to our friends that that work in the indies, especially those that have a indie wrestling fed. Feel free to, maybe you tried reaching out to Dijak. Maybe it didn't go so well. You want to remain anonymous, you can shoot your man an email. That reminds me, we got to get back with some of our friends. We used to promote some wrestling feds back in the day. I got to see what's going on with some of them, see if they are still around or what. Hey, let's close out on this note. You guys been enjoying yourself so far? I mean, we've been bouncing around all over the place on this show. If you have, make sure you show some love, man. Just share, leave the rating and reviews. Show love to the YouTube channel. We're pretty close to hitting 15,000 subs. So you guys can definitely help make that happen. Make sure you subscribe. Click the bell notifications, all that jazz. Let's talk a little NBA news to close this out. I know we got some NBA fans that's out there. I'm aware of what has gone down there with Klay Thompson. Looks like LeBron James was trying very, very hard to have Klay Thompson remain on the West Coast there, more specific, remain in LA, but it just would not come to be, as it appears Klay Thompson is going to be going to the Dallas Mavericks there. It's interesting what's going on there with Klay Thompson, right? I mean, look, he did blow out his ACL, and then shortly after that, he had the worst injury that any NBA player, like, you wouldn't wish it on your worst enemy, and that is that Achilles tear. That's like the worst injury that you can have, because that essentially is career threatening for a basketball player. That is like the number one kiss of death. And I know from all the years that I was watching the Golden State Warriors, it's so funny, like, when I sometimes talk basketball with some coworkers in the past, or family members, or just maybe I'm at the barber shop, getting work done and all that. Yeah, I go to the barber shop sometimes. Sometimes my hair will grow out so much, and I'm like, hey, shave it bald, or I need my beard trimmed. Like, hey, trim this up. I like going to the barber shop and talking with the boys and all that still. But that Achilles tear, like, you wouldn't wish that on your worst enemy. And when I look back at Klay Thompson, when I would talk basketball with my friends, Golden State Warriors was one of those teams that I always loved and respected a great deal. And when friends and colleagues would ask me, damn, why you like the Golden State Warriors? And I would tell them they remind me so much of Jordan and the Bulls, that for me, like, it's like an easy transition. And it was really an easy transition for me, because I remember growing up in Chicago, paying attention to the Bulls, loving the hell out of the Bulls. Even after I moved and came to D.C., what was it? I came to D.C. in, 92, going on 93, and they were still pretty much that first three-peat and all that. Like, I followed the Bulls all the way through the end, followed Phil Jackson to the Los Angeles Lakers. And then it was just kind of interesting how everything kind of came to be with the Golden State Warriors. I was paying attention to Golden State Warriors when they originally had Mark Jackson. And then when Steve Kerr came into the mix, I remember how much of a big fan I was of Steve Kerr. I'm like, yo, this is going to be money right here. This is going to be magic. And I was proven right. So I've never been one of those type of guys that just follow one basketball team. There's always a handful of teams that I would check out every single year. Golden State Warriors being one of those teams. Klay Thompson, you looked at what happened there with the ACL and then the Achilles tear. You wondered if this guy was ever going to be the same again. We watched this guy go from being part of the closing team lineup, like, okay, we're going to take that away from you, and we're going to take away your starting position. Like, we watch all of that go away, and we're wondering what's happening with this guy. Like, what the hell? We saw the Golden State Warriors organization offer him a 5-year deal that went damn near close to $200 million. that was a 5-year extension, and you're like, wow, he's getting this despite the fact that he hasn't really been doing that well health-wise. Okay, they're trying to work with the man. Wow, that says a lot. That's pretty badass and everything. Even when you look at what had went down this past season, now that it's wrapped up and everything, I actually did a little bit of research here. And that the man had showed up for 77 games, and he made the 4th most threes in the league. And yet, when it was time to sit down and renew things with Klay Thompson, the organization that is, did not give him a reasonable offer. Keep in mind, he watched Draymond Green and one other cat, I can't think of his name right now, but he watched Draymond Green and one other Golden State Warrior player agree to a 4-year deal. Like, they getting their money. And the only thing that the Golden State Warriors were able to come to him with was basically a 2-year extension deal for $48 million. Like, after everything this guy has done, it's not like he's been in a slump for 5 years. I mean, hell, his contributions was definitely felt in the 2022 championship reign there, as Golden State Warriors had brought in another one. So it's like, okay, it hasn't been that long. Like what the hell is going on here? So very weird what's going on with Klay Thompson. It's Jordan Poole is the other one. Draymond Green and Jordan Poole. They were able to get multi-year deals, and yet Klay Thompson got this weak ass, right? So no more Splash Brothers. And, I think Golden State is going to be all right. But there's just something about Klay Thompson. Like, one thing, I can say this, having watched the Golden State Warriors for so long. Very seldom would you see a situation occur where Klay Thompson, Steph Curry are both having a bad night. Like, they ain't scoring for shit. Normally, it would be, okay, well, if Klay's off, you already know Steph's going to be on fire. And then you'd have another night where, oh, man, it's not Steph's night, but Klay's turning it on. Very, very seldom would both of them be cold. So I just find it very interesting what's going on there with Klay Thompson. And look, when it's all said and done, honestly, for the amount of money that Golden State Warriors were trying to give him, Klay Thompson ultimately, only he knows why he rejected it and everything. But if you want to put the narrative out there that Klay ultimately rejected this because he knows what he's capable of, and he feels that now more than ever, he's basketball-wise in the best shape humanly possible, and he can contribute a lot more than what Golden State Warriors is trying to offer to him. And if that means he needs to take less money elsewhere to prove the point that, I can still do this. Look at what I'm doing over here, and I'm doing it for less money than what you guys were willing to give me, then so be it. Like, you can't help but respect the fact that, okay, this is what he's going to do, and taking that fresh start and all of that. It sucks. If you're a Golden State Warriors fan, if you're a Klay Thompson fan, it sucks what's going on there. But, the young man, he's going to be all right. Also, as far as NBA free agency goes, we see that Paul George is going to be heading to the Philadelphia 76ers. Looks like the two sides agreed to a $212 million contract. This went down in the wee hours of Monday morning, apparently. George heads to Philly to team up with Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey after 5 seasons with the Clippers. LeBron James is still going to be a free agent. Looks like he remains a free agent, but all signs seem to indicate that he will be sticking around with the Lakers. Now that they've got Brawny and all that, a lot of people were thinking, oh, he's going to do the Lakers dirty. He's just going to dip out on the Lakers now that Brawny is. No, LeBron, in case anybody is paying attention, LeBron has always said he wanted to stay in the league long enough to see Brawny not only get drafted, but it was his hope, it was his wish that he would be able to play on the same basketball team as his son before he retires. I don't see LeBron being not a man of his word. That's the one thing that, and the people that are saying this, honestly, they're all knuckleheads, because if you know anything about LeBron James, and this is where people can say whatever they want about who's the GOAT between LeBron James, Michael Jordan. I know I've said, it's Michael Jordan. LeBron can get there if he does X, Y, Z. But the one thing that I will be the first to defend LeBron James on is when it comes to his contract situations for every single team that he has played for since he has been in the league. He has always done business the right way. He has never been a prima donna like some of these other players. I want out of my contract. I want to go play for somebody else. I don't like it here no more. No. LeBron is the one cat. Whatever deal he makes, he freaking honors it. He never finagles, tries to power out, use his status. None of that. He honors it. Now, I know things over there with the Heat. I know Pat Riley, he wanted big time for LeBron to stay. And even when you look at that, LeBron waited till his contract was over and done with. And then he did what he needed to do. In this particular case, I see LeBron James just remaining a free agent. I see him talking to Jeannie Buss and them. I can see this being a situation where he goes, look, win, lose, or draw, this is going to be my final season. I want to play with my son on the court, just as I envisioned it. Then I'm done. So, and that's a cool way. That's a cool way to go out. Anyway, we want to talk about nepotism, and man, get out of here with that crap. I'm happy to see a person that looks just like me that's pretty much been able to use his power and influence to pretty much get his son to come in there. Lord knows we don't see all different types of nepotism going on in the league and other sports. Like, come on, I'm all fine for this. And look, LeBron's son is in a really good place where he's going to be learning the fundamentals big time. I can't wait to see how it all pans out and everything. Meanwhile, and also can't wait to see how much of a discount LeBron James is going to take, if at all, so that the Lakers organization can do what they need to do to go get some help for LeBron, because that's definitely in the pipeline as well. James Harden, meanwhile, looks like he's agreed to a 2-year, $70 million deal with the Clippers. KCP has agreed to a 3-year, $66 million deal with the Orlando Magic. We've got the Thunder agreeing to a 3-year deal with Isaiah Hardestin. Warriors waived Chris Paul, who appears to be signing with the Spurs. So Chris Paul and Greg Popovich, that's going to be a very interesting combination there. Very interesting combination. Tobias Harris is going to be heading back to the Pistons on a $52 million deal. Jonas looks like he's going to be landing a 3-year deal with the Washington Wizards. I'm going to be paying pretty close attention to that one. Derrick Jones Jr., he's getting a 3-year deal from the Clippers. Kevin Love, somebody I love big time. I respect that man's hustle. Kevin Love, he's going to be staying with the Miami Heat. Was looking a little bit concerned there, but when you heard that they're both trying to work something out that's doable and manageable for both sides. You just kind of felt, well, would kind of be a shocker then if Kevin Love was done with the Miami Heat. But Kevin Love was able to work out a deal with the Miami Heat. It's a 2-year deal that he's inked out. And meanwhile, 76ers, they've signed Andre Drummond and Eric Gordon, and they're bringing back Kelly Oubre Jr. So that all is currently the big moves that's going on in NBA free agencies. So, shaping up to be a very interesting summer so far. But my bold prediction that I'm going to put out there, remember this timestamp of the show, which is at the 2-hour, 20-second mark here on now July 2nd, 2024. But remember this episode, I feel that LeBron is just going to play one more year, win or lose when it comes to another NBA championship. LeBron will be done. LeBron will be done. He said it himself. He only wanted to play long enough to see Bronny come into the league, and he would prefer it be a situation where he plays on the same team as his son. So I don't see LeBron signing another deal. I think he's just going to be remaining a free agent with the Lakers. He's going to go into camp, all of that. And when he's done, that's pretty much going to be it. He will definitely be retiring at the end of the 2024-2025 season. I mean, he pretty much has done it all. I ask you, what much more is there for him to do beyond being able to play basketball with his son for the same team? What else is there past that? Seriously. So, you really sit down and you really think about it, and you've been following LeBron's story and all that all these years. You know how much of a respected businessman he is and how he tries to do things the right way, especially when it comes to him playing for different organizations. It's like I don't see how he continues playing past the 2025 to 2026. I don't see how. I just don't see it. I just don't see it. So mark my words on that one. All right. As far as quick programming notes go, I think we're going to do another show for you guys. I know for a fact we're going to do the Money in the Bank predictions. That's going to be a standalone piece. I'll be working on that in post-production, and I'll make that be available no later than Wednesday. I'll probably have it go up maybe like Wednesday morning, something along those lines. I may feel like putting it out there sooner. It just really depends. But as long as you're staying connected on social media, you're getting the alerts and all that, as soon as it goes up, you'll definitely see it. I know this weekend, Money in the Bank is going to be on a Saturday. I will definitely have the post show for you guys on that one. Me and Tams will be sitting down later this week to record another edition of Wrestling with the topics to put out there for on demand and on the downloads, FYI. So stay tuned for that one. So those are all your respective programmings that's going to be coming up. I definitely want to take this time out and give a shout out to our respected sponsors, because without them, kind contributions that they make to the show and episodes like what you're checking out right now, it would not be made possible. Want to give a shout out to our friends over at cannaglobe.biz//sweet sensations. If you're tired of dreaming about running your own cannabis dispensary but getting stuck on licensing and costs, cannaglobe.biz can help you out with that. And look, some of you guys may be going, man, the price is just way up there, and I don't want to. Man, we're talking about starting up your own dispensary for as low as $500. You don't have to worry about inventory. They take care of that for you. And this is all 100% legal. Everything is on the up and up. Ain't no weird backdoor shenanigan crap going down. So check them out today. Again, cannaglobe.biz// Sweet Sensations, or you can give them a call at area code 702-767-0683. We're also brought to you in part by our friends at the Top Tier Financial Group at toptierfinancialgroup.com. They are a group of tax attorneys, enrolled agents, and CPAs that specialize in tax resolution, tax preparations, wage garnishment, and bank levy release, tax lien removals, audits, bookkeeping. They've got over 15 years of experience and knowledge in the tax industry, all of which the tools they have at their disposal can help you get that nice, clean slate that you need in regards to your taxes and garnish wages. So check them out, toptierfinancialgroup.com. The RCWR Show with Lee Sanders is also brought to you in part by MITB. If you're tired of paying all that money for Viagra or Cialis, call the folks at MITB at 1-833-693-3633. You can buy generic versions of these pills that I just said and save loads of money while at the same time getting the same fantastic performance in the bedroom. All for a low price. I mean, you can't beat that. Get the same great results, save money, great effects, same effects in the bedroom. I mean, it's a win-win situation for you and your spouse. Call them today, 1-833-693-3633. Got to give a shout out to our friends over at the Ancient Supplement Store at ancientsupplements.store. You need supplemental vitamins. They are definitely the people to hit up. FDA drug approved, 100% money back guarantee if you're not satisfied. Last but not least, definitely got to make sure we recognize our sports friends over at the Orange and Blue Glory. If you are a diehard Florida Gators fan, you bleed orange and blue, check out their vibrant Facebook community group by searching Orange and Blue Glory. We love working with all of these great sponsors. They are friends of the show. Make them be a part of your family as well. And check them out. Be a friend. Check them all out. All right, so that is going to do it. Get at your man on the Twitter, the YouTube, the Facebook. Use the keywords, the RCWR Show. And until next go round, my pretty babies, I'm wishing all of y'all to be safe. Most importantly, be kind to one another. I will see you guys for the Money in the Bank predictions pick'em edition. Check out my Daryl Hall album review that's up on the YouTube channel right now as we speak. And I'll see you guys for the Money in the Bank post show. For those of you that's going to maybe be on an extended break, you won't be able to join us for the rest of the week going forward. I will wish you and your family a happy 4th of July and safe travels in advance. Take care, y'all. Peace.